with the old and in with the new. It's time to save big at Room to Room's New Year's sale. Store-wide markdowns 50 to 70% off. No tax. 48-month special financing. It's a new year at Room to Room Furniture in Tupelo. There's no place like home.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, welcome in here to the Room to Room Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor here for Mississippi Live Weather at 10. And we are tracking a lot. And I know you saw the headlines. A few flakes possible Friday, but also that extremely dangerous cold moving into this weekend. Tracking all of that and more here on the 10 o'clock hour. Let's go ahead and get into those headlines. And of course, we are first looking at that cold air that's going to be in the forecast and those flakes that are moving in on Friday. That dangerous cold, though, is the main headline I want you to know because this is where the impacts will be felt. We're talking about temperatures as low as the low teens, potentially single digits, but wind chills into the negatives. We'll break all that down here in just a moment. Flakes not impossible Friday, and I know that impacts are possible, impacts are possible with the cold. Impacts not going to be in place for the flakes. So anyone that has seen that winter precipitation so far, what we're seeing on models is not exactly going to be anything adding to what has already been a significantly impactful storm from last weekend. The weekend stays dry, but that very cold air, that will be the story into the weekend. So any plans you may have, make sure to pair about 4 or 5 layers with those, with that extreme cold moving in. 31 degrees during that first 12 for 11 p.m., 29 there by 2 a.m., and heading into those early morning hours. I mean, this is as mild as we've been for a morning forecast probably all week long. And a big reason why is because moisture is in the forecast, allowing for some milder temperatures to be in place. But I mean, we're still below freezing. Our standard is just very low on what mild technically is. But that moisture, that's where that few flakes are possible. And of course, we'll have them. But in regards to what it will do to the ground, not going to be anything. And for the large portion of North Mississippi, probably won't even see it drop. 36 degrees right there in Kosciuszko, Itala County, still enjoying some of those above freezing temperatures, but that's not the case for everybody as the locations continue to cool off overnight. If we take a look at Crenshaw, exact example of that, 28 degrees, and all of this slush there on the roads, expecting that to refreeze into those overnight hours, but we are hopeful that we can continue to take another step towards normalcy and another step towards getting the power back all the way across North Mississippi, and of course, get some warmer air. Oxford, a prime example of getting power back, a welcome sight, seeing the MDOT cameras back up there and working. 28 degrees right there on Highway 6 at the intersection of Jackson Avenue. And I know folks out there are excited to at least, again, take one step forward into what should be a little bit more of a normal pattern. And everyone in Oxford, everyone in Lafayette County, hoping that that mission can be reached by the time we get into later on, potentially this weekend, but even into next week as we kind of again, move our way forward. Those alerts right now, that cold, extreme cold warning is in the forecast for North Mississippi. Basically, Highway 6 and south, that's where that is in place. What that means is extremely dangerous cold air will be in the forecast, and pair that with some of the power outages we've been seeing. I mean, tens of thousands are still without power tonight. So that's where this forecast gets very dangerous and potentially life-threatening if we don't do what we need to right now, and that's go ahead and make preparations. A big thing that we're pushing right now is warming shelters, a full list on the North Mississippi Storm Chasers page, and if any of them are watching, if you want to drop that in the chat tonight to let folks know where to go ahead and make those plans now or ask someone to take you over there so that way you can be warm heading into this weekend, because we are talking about a significantly colder forecast. That is in place until 9 a.m. on Saturday. Not going to be shocked at all if that does get extended, but we're also tracking for portions up north along the Tennessee state line. That's where we have that cold weather advisory again Sunday until noon. So that's where this is, of course, blanketing those extreme cold warnings, is because this is extended all the way to Sunday at noon. I do expect those extreme cold warnings to be extended as well, because temperatures potentially could be even colder Sunday morning than what they are on Saturday. As we look at our Mama Justice Doppler radar, still going to be those dry conditions across the area as we have seen all day long. So at least that has been a benefit for any of those linemen or folks out there clearing trees, anybody that's out and about tonight trying to just do work to get us back on track. I mean, big thank you to everyone that has been doing that. And I hope you have taken full advantage of this forecast, because not only was it dry, it was also on the warmer side, at least warmer than what it has been, right? Again, our standard has been lowered. If we take a look at our surface analysis, of course, it will highlight that warm front that's right overhead. This has been providing us that warmer air for our Thursday, but that is attached to this system now all the way out there in Arkansas. It's beginning to move into North Mississippi, and that's where colder air is back behind it. I mean, if we just visually draw this out right here, you basically get that northerly wind moving in right behind that front. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Let me not break the technology. Let me see if I can do it. Is it going to work? There we go. Okay, and this is that colder air like we were talking about. Okay, technology not wanting to work. There we go. I'm not going to touch it anymore. I promise, system. I'm not going to make you mad. Okay, that colder air back behind the system, that's what's going to drive our forecast into the weekend. But we do have at least Friday morning to enjoy before that forecast does move into North Mississippi. As we go ahead and put this on Futurecast, you can see that this low is going to have some moisture attached to it. I'm going to bring it back in closer to North Mississippi to get a better visual on this. What you see is a few blips of green, pink, maybe even blue. And this is going to be where we could get a mixture of those flakes into those light showers in North Mississippi. This is 6 a.m. on our Friday, and that's going to be moving right through DeSoto, Tate, and Marshall County, an area that has seen plenty of winter precipitation and not wanting any more of it. But luckily, these flakes are going to be so light that they're non-impactful, and it's going to last for a very short period of time. I mean, if you look 2-3 hours later, it's already all the way into Pontotoc and Union County. So again, a few flakes possible, going to be picturesque-ish, but again, not adding any impacts. And that's what matters with this forecast moving into our Friday morning and those dissipating out by our Friday afternoon, leaving us with a drier forecast to wrap up the day and ending the week on a high note, and definitely need that after the week we've been experiencing. The next 24, 28 degrees by 6, and yes, with those limited percentages of precipitation, but as the day goes on, we're talking 40 degrees by 3, so not much change as the day goes on, and that shows that shift in the atmosphere that we're experiencing. That's going to bring in some much colder air. I mean, by 9 p.m., you already see 24 degrees in the forecast. That's colder than our morning low temperatures for the start of Friday. So that's that colder air mass settling in, and that'll really be impactful getting into the weekend, not in regards to any additional winter precipitation, but for potentially what precipitation or what moisture is still on the ground, but also for us just experiencing that cold air. That's the impactful forecast. That's the headline heading into this weekend, and that's what we'll continue to address in more detail here in the Room to Room Weather Center, live from Mississippi Live Weather at 10 in the next 60. Put it off it. All right, back here in the next 60.
Game day brings its ups and downs, celebration and disappointment, anxiety and relief, friends and enemies. You can always argue over who should have won, but everyone can agree on great food. Appetizers, entrees, drinks, party platters, or even the taste of sweet victory. There's something for every season at Eat With Us restaurants.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
So good news getting into tonight, or at least as good of news as we'll take here in North Mississippi. This was a picture submitted in Wheeler, which was one of the highly impacted areas when it came to this past weekend's winter storm. What you're left with there, I see a whole bunch of green and not a lot of reflection from those ice crystals, meaning that it has started to melt and leave us with just the foliage beyond that point. So David and Wheeler submitting this picture. The unfortunate part about this picture is the ice has weighed on those limbs and knocking a few of those down, unfortunately, but it's just, I know we're glad to finally thaw out and clear off some of that winter precipitation. Now, this is actually, I apologize, this is actually from the Ole Miss campus, a view over there, and of course, a view of the basketball stadium back there in the distance. This is Deline and Ole Miss submitting these pictures. You do see those trees weighed down as well with those branches snapped and a little bit of that snow on the sides of the roads, but what do you see on the roads? Nothing. Starting to clear up a little bit, and again, good news heading into the end of this week. And I know folks at Ole Miss are ready to get back on campus to enjoy, of course, the college festivities, especially in the spring season with baseball season right around the corner. I know the Rebels are excited about that one. This is the story, though. Our cold temperatures getting into this weekend. I saw some folks in chat asking, is there a round two? Oh, no, is this going to affect my area? Is this going to be in addition to what we've already been experiencing? Let me lay the foundation now. No, none of those flakes are going to be impactful. It's just going to be a few may fall from the sky, but again, not expecting anything on the ground. It is just going to be just a few flakes and a few light showers, and that is it. And even for then, it's not impacting a ton of people. It's going to be very limited in regards to where those showers pop up. So do not be worried. Folks that have experienced the trauma of this past weekend, I completely understand, and I want you to know that you are good for this weekend, at least in regards to the precipitation. But we do need to prepare for the cold air. Saturday morning, we're talking low teens in the area with wind chills potentially getting into the negatives across North Mississippi. That is very dangerous cold, especially if you are still in an area without power. So get to those warming centers now before this cold air does settle in. Sunday, low teens once again to start out the day, but a few single digits also possible around the northwest part of our viewing area. We'll look at this in just a moment, but that's basically setting the scene to let you know it is going to be an extremely cold forecast, and that makes it an extremely dangerous forecast. That extreme cold warning is in place through Saturday at 9 a.m., but I do expect that to be extended, as you just saw in our Sunday low temperatures. I mean, they're getting all the way into the single digits in some spots, so not going to be shocked if they do extend that, but covering for now is a cold weather advisory up until Sunday at noon, and that does encompass all of North Mississippi, so stay safe, stay prepared, and of course, stay warm, and we'll be walking you through that forecast all throughout your Friday and heading into this weekend. Temperatures right now across North Mississippi, currently in the low 30s, Hernando, Holly Springs, and Clarksdale, mid-30s, Oxford, as well as Macon and Kosciuszko, but we are all cooling off overnight before that moisture does move in, and of course, blanket our sky enough to where we're not going to cool off much more beyond that point. Like I said, the mildest temperatures we have seen for a morning low over the last several days. So again, another positive we get to look forward to as we get our Friday started. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar showing us those dry conditions, and we expect to be exactly that up until about 3 a.m. There's where you'll get some of those light showers working their way in, potentially a few flakes working their way in that moisture as well. But again, 10% coverage, potentially 20% coverage, and that's even on the higher side of things. This is not going to be an impactful event for anybody in North Mississippi. As we keep Futurecast moving, you can see that frontal boundary right overhead, this system working its way into North Mississippi. And what do you see? I mean, 2 a.m., we don't have a drop in North Mississippi, but as we get into that 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning hours, you can see a little bit of that moisture out there towards eastern Arkansas, moving into Greenville and Cleveland. Well, you're getting a whole lot of green, meaning that a lot of this is going to be some light rainfall, but there you get a few blues up there towards the colder regions around DeSoto, Tate, and Marshall County. Now, this is not pinpoint accuracy. It's been all over the place in regards to where these showers do pick up, but we do expect it in the northwest part of our viewing area by Friday morning, but these showers, non-impactful. Like I mentioned, you might see a flake or two throughout that early morning commute on your Friday, but no impacts are going to be expected. I'm going to keep reiterating that because I know that is a very sensitive topic right now with the impacts we have seen across North Mississippi this week. Low temperatures your Friday morning, 25 South Haven, 25 Senatobia, so still that cold forecast, but a little bit warmer than where things were this morning, and this morning was a little bit warmer than where things were yesterday morning. 27 Tupelo, 27 around Starkville. That wind chill going to primarily affect folks up there towards Tunica County and DeSoto County, but down here in the southeast part, not going to be nearly as impactful because that system has not fully worked its way in. What you'll get by mid-morning, you can see a little bit of that moisture continuing to build. And again, not impossible to see a few flakes around Tippah and Benton County working their way into Prentiss and Lee County. But again, a few flakes, that's all they are. No impact's going to be expected and no accumulation is going to be expected within that. That does work out of the forecast by the early afternoon. And there we're going to be enjoying above freezing temperatures and a lot of sunshine, meaning that we will continue to see that melting trend at least a little bit more before that extreme cold does get here by this weekend. We keep that forecast moving into the evening hours, and there's those breezy conditions as well. So even those light showers, I don't expect those to add anything to anything that we already have on the ground because the wind is going to dry it up before we get into those weekend plans and those weekend freezing temperatures. High temperatures on your Friday, like I mentioned, above freezing across North Mississippi with 41 Tupelo, 39 Grenada, 42 around Starkville, and 39 around parts of Belzona. As we keep this moving throughout your Friday evening, we stay on the drier side, like I mentioned, but as that low moves further away, I mean, when we talk impactful forecast, That would be for the Carolinas as this system works its way into the Atlantic coast. Big reason why? It's because it has a ton of moisture. You have this counterclockwise motion that's allowing for more of those showers to develop on the north side of the low as that counterclockwise flow brings it in from the Atlantic into the Carolinas. So expecting a pretty high magnitude of snowfall out there in the Carolinas. But if you look here in North Mississippi, again, maybe a few flakes, but that's it. And no impacts, no accumulation is expected. It's continuing to be a dry forecast. Even this line of blue you see right there, I'm not in a high belief of that because that drier air that is settling in, again, a few flakes, not impossible, but I'm just not really sold on it just yet because of how far that system is away and how much that wraparound moisture is going to reach that far west. I mean, that's several miles working its way into North Mississippi. If we track that out, I just want to measure it for just peace of mind for me. I mean, we're talking 450 miles away from that low pressure center. It's not impossible, but it's not really expected. And even if it does happen, it's not going to be impactful whatsoever. This is where the impacts will be felt as the low temperatures are in the low to mid teens. We're seeing 11 degrees Bruce, 11 around Holly Springs, and 13 Senatobia. Those wind chills though, north of Highway 6, we're expecting it to feel in the negatives. Not impossible for parts of Winston and Talbot County to feel in the negatives as well, but my word, is this a cold forecast. And this is where things become dangerous. So warming centers, I do expect those to be filled a little bit more getting into the start of our weekend for folks that are just trying to stay safe. And if you don't have a way to get there, it would be worth it to call somebody to come get you, to bring you out there. There's a ton of helping hands, and I'm sure they'll want you to get to a safe location before that weekend does start. Throughout your Saturday, though, we do remain dry. It's going to be a beautiful forecast all day long with plenty of sunshine throughout the day. This is going to be some of that thin cloud cover way high aloft, and we are going to get a few breaks throughout our Saturday to enjoy that sunshine and potentially that sunshine melting stuff as well, but temperatures do remain below freezing all day long, so we're not expecting significant melting through the day. By 6 p.m., that does clear out just a bit. We're still getting these breezy conditions out of the northwest, so as we head into our afternoon temperatures, it of course is going to be mid to upper 20s, but wind chill values could knock that back into the low 20s despite it being our high temperatures. It's just those breezy conditions making their presence felt. As we get into our Saturday night and into our Sunday morning, you can see that it is going to be a cold forecast once again. I mean, when we're talking low temperature Sunday, we're at 12 degrees with wind chill values back into the single digits. Beyond that, though, a milder forecast does move in as our next system rolls into town, and we are definitely welcoming that forecast because we're ready for a change in this pattern. Wind chill values, a mark that I couldn't even put on our graph. We had to make a whole new graphic for this because wind chill values are that low. -2 degrees for those average feels like values, 5 degrees Sunday. And then we're climbing, getting into the start of the work week. So there is light at the end of the tunnel that we get to look forward to. And as we get towards early to midweek next week, I do expect the last of those snow-packed grounds or ice-packed grounds to clear on out, and we enjoy a much better pattern working our way into Tuesday, into Wednesday, and even into Thursday. So, like I said, light at the end of the tunnel. We are almost there. We just have a cold weekend to worry about until we get there. As we take a look at the chat, I wanted to make sure that I'm not missing anything in regards to explaining this forecast, because I do not want anyone to be concerned about the flakes tomorrow. It's not going to be impactful. I'm going to reiterate that once again so that you guys are not worried about it. I don't want you to be worried about it because it's not anything to worry about. The weekend cold, that's the big thing I want you to take home with you, just to make sure you are preparing, you are staying warm, and you're where you need to be before this cold weather does strike. And of course, there are several people in North Mississippi looking to help out. I mean, I love scrolling the feed and being able to see all of the folks that are just trying to, be a Mississippian, helping out the community and being there for everybody. It's been something that warms my heart, and I hope it warms a lot of yours in this very cold pattern that we've been experiencing. One note with this pattern, if anyone does have a comment here real quick, feel free to drop it in chat. But I wanted to first go over our basketball forecast because a big headline for us here at Mississippi Live Weather is our game has been shifted to Saturday at 2 o'clock. Our Ethan Foster going to be there covering it like he does every week, and he'll have those highlights coming up Saturday night instead of Friday night. So you have to tune in during the weekend and between those basketball games for Mississippi State and Ole Miss. That, of course, brought to you by Casey Lott. A big thank you to Langston a lot for sponsoring us on our basketball journey, and excited to see what next week brings, but definitely excited for this Houston versus Shannon matchup. Going to be a cold forecast, though, so bundle up if you are heading to Southern Lee County. But like I said, should be heating up on the court, and it's going to be a good one for sure. You guys, what about Tunica? How is it? It's still pretty icy up there, so make sure to drive with caution. But what I've seen on MDOT cameras and what I've seen on some of our North Mississippi Storm Chaser cameras is that roads are getting better. That's a great thing, and I hope that they continue to clear up as we work our way into the forecast tomorrow. But like I said, extreme cold this weekend, potential to refreeze some of those roads that aren't fully cleared off by tomorrow. So drive with caution. Even that melting that takes place tomorrow could potentially refreeze overnight and into the weekend. So drive with caution, proceed with caution, check your local EMA directors to make sure that those areas are good to go. Check with the local areas, any of those road crews. I'm sure they'll be happy to let you know if those roadways are passable. And of course, we'll keep you updated here on Mississippi Live Weather, touching base with local EMA directors as we get into our weekend forecast. You can always tune in at any point on the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available on iOS and Android today. So make sure to go download that free app and it'll keep you updated in regards to the cold temperatures this weekend or heading into next week with those rain chances back into the forecast. And notice I said rain chances, not anything else, just rain. That's a good thing. I'm excited about it. So no winter precip heading into next week. It's just going to be that rainfall. And that rainfall is definitely a big blessing as some of us are still trying to work our way out of the drought. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will have a latest look at that drought monitor, but also latest look at those temperatures, latest look at the positioning for some of those cold showers. She'll have all of those latest details coming up at 6:30, 7, and 7:30. So make sure to join her for the very latest. Have that cup of coffee in hand and be ready to have a fantastic Friday. We'll see you guys there. Stay safe, stay warm, and of course, stay prepared.
At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.